Welcome back to the Techness CorneR. I'm your host Seb Luka for today's proceedings, and I'm glad you joined us. Thank you, and I appreciate all the likes and follows. So let's continue. I'm in the process of trying to beef up my streaming setup. I currently still need, frankly, a better mic arm of some sort. I've got one in mind, a Braytech one that doesn't break the budget, but isn't too cheap as well. It's about $80 or so, which we'll get into once I get it, probably in the next month or so, realistically, with funds which are applicable and required. But in the meantime, I've upgraded the camera behind me. So the camera behind me is a Lumix G7 used, and she does 4K video, and essentially it's just to increase production value and production costs associated with my streams and my videos. As you can see, this camera here is probably not doing me justice, so enough being said in that regards. Let's get a closer look at how the camera's operating now through what is the Live Gamer Duo produced by AverMedia. And to cut a long story short, it's a capture card that goes into your PCIe slots. It's got minimal lag. In fact, it's got some of the best latency measurements recorded for a capture card. And it's got, more importantly, two inputs, one for the camera and one for the second PC for a dual PC setup. So if you're thinking about increasing the production value of your stream in some way, shape or form, and you don't want to be utilizing one of these, which I was for a time because I had a old school AverMedia capture card with only one input, I needed something for the camera. These in a pickle will do the trick. These are $20 to $30 USB dongles, which are sort of mirrored on the cam links per se. They will do the trick in, say, an environment where you just need to do a quick setup and you need something portable and cheap, and they won't break the budget. But if you want to increase your production value, let's take a closer look at the Live Gamer Duo produced by AverMedia. So let's go. So the Live Gamer Duo produced by AverMedia, two inputs, one output, and it's got some really decent specs for the price that you're paying in this day and age. Let's do a quick unboxing video and have a closer look. So as you can see, Live Gamer Duo, model number GC570D, AverMedia product, and she's got all the bells and whistles. She's RGB lit as well. She takes a full PCIe slot, okay, two inputs and an output as well. It'll take uncompressed video capture, full HD HDR10 video recording, 4K HDR10 and full HD 240 frames per second pass-through, 7.1 and 5.1 surround sound pass-through as well, and it's got RGB lighting effects. So let's take a closer look at what exactly is in the box per se, and I've got a surprise for you all. It's another box. But again, I've got another surprise for you all. So as we open her up, you're greeted with some decent packaging material, safety's sake. And unfortunately, there's no AverMedia card in here. Why, guys? Obviously, because I'm utilizing it right now. But you do get, it comes in an anti-static bag. Very neatly placed. Also, let's get you creating. You got a few scan codes that can take you straight to where you need to go. Also, if you register for an extended warranty, and you've also got your quick guide, installation guide. But I'm going to take you guys through the simple process of installing everything and what needs to be done. Yeah, but before we do that, let me show you guys the card currently installed in the PC per se. So yeah, AverMedia Live Gamer Duo. Let's take a closer look at it currently in the machine to my left now, and we'll just see her in action. Now, she hasn't come without her pitfalls, frankly. I've had a couple of problems. I don't know if it's my computer, my motherboard, Windows 10 currently, but there are a couple of issues that I had which hasn't seemed to have plagued other people, but I did work around these issues, and essentially it's operational, it works. I'm not too fussed about a couple of the drawbacks that are associated with the card, and you guys can have a closer look at it now and I'll explain what they are. So if we come across to the back of my storage PC, you'll notice that there's a hard drive bay just here. She's a little dusty. It's a little bit of a tight fit in between this old iMac and whatnot. Salvaged out from hard rubbish. It was on the side of the road, surprisingly. But we've got 5 bays in there for storage, 5 mechanical drives. And if we have a closer look over here, you guys shall see the AverMedia card gracefully slotted into the second PCIe slot, and all it requires according to the specs is a PCIe 2.0 by 4 maximum, but it does have to be slotted into a by 16 slot, if you get my drift. Okay, in the top slot there we've got the graphics card, and as you can see, one of the pitfalls with the way I've got it set up is even though there's plenty of RGB, there's no RGB currently active, and I have not been able to activate this RGB whatsoever for some odd reason. I don't know exactly what's going on with it. But on a side note, let's get back to a better picture. So I haven't been able to get the RGB effects to light up. Essentially, also when it comes to installing the software that comes with the Live Gamer Duo, it's very simple. It's a suite of software. It's one download, and you pretty much just have to open up the package and run the software, and it will do all the firmware updates that are required for the video capture card to work effectively, as well as any of the recording software that you may choose to utilize, produced by AverMedia and provided by AverMedia as well. But realistically speaking, I did this. I actually had an old AverMedia card in there, and maybe those drivers that I had on that card were conflicting with this one, because essentially I wanted to have 3 cards or 2 cards inside the machine, but I had to uninstall the drivers from that card, and then after installing the newest drivers, I found I still did not have a input into OBS successfully. So what I ended up doing was rolling back the drivers per se and finding the drivers that were second from the newest, back one to an older driver set, and then it magically just started to work perfectly. Again though, without the RGB. I haven't had a problem with it since. Unfortunately, there's no lighting effects coming from the Live Gamer Duo. So if we go to their product page, we can have a closer look at what we're talking about here. So it's known as the Live Gamer Duo dual 1080p uncompressed video capture, but it'll accept 4K pass-through per se. Uncompressed video capture. If it accepts 4K pass-through, you can essentially capture it in 4K on OBS. 1440p is not an issue as well, and rolling all the way back downwards. Now, as you can see, the setup here has the card in it per se, and it's utilizing, just like I do, additional camera as well as probably streaming at the same time. Now the model number is G570D, just to be specific if you're looking for it, and they retail for about $300 Australian. So I wouldn't expect to spend more than $240 odd in the USD terminology. Now, it does specify 0 lag pass-through, and I can vouch for this. It's extremely fast. There's minimal lag, and even Epox, if you have a look at one of his comparison videos, it rates as one of the highest, most receptive capture cards available, as lifelike as 4K HDR, or as responsive as full HD 240 frame rates per second. They suggest it's a perfect balance between pleasure and performance. Now there it is there. Now to be specific though, only one of these inputs can handle 4K. The other input is baseline 1080p 60, which is fine for the way I've got the camera set up per se. And the camera I utilize in 1080p 60 unless I've got it on the go, and then I pick up 4K imagery and video on the fly. So it suggests that you can have 2 in there even in a workstation, and as you can see, the AverMedia lights up and is lit. I to this day haven't managed to get it working. It's compatible with OBS, Streamlabs, non-OBS obviously guys, and all your other major XSplit broadcaster software and whatnot. And essentially it's plug and play. After you go into downloads, for example, you just get the application Assist Central, okay? And it's compatible for running with Windows 7 and 10, equipped with AverMedia Discrete Desktop Capture Card or USB Capture Card. Download and run directly onto the system you want to update. The related software and firmware will be downloaded and installed. And then essentially you just run that application or that suite, and yeah, it's very, very simple. But if you have the same problem that I did, you can go straight to the drivers themselves, okay? And you just have to go back and download a previous driver, and that should fix the issue and get it running essentially. So just to reiterate, one of the inputs is HDMI 2.0, and the other input's HDMI 1.4, okay? 1.4 will only handle upwards of 1080p at 60, so it's good for a secondary monitor of some sort that isn't your primary, or perhaps a camera in this case. So with that being said, I would honestly recommend this product over other capture devices, because unlike the Elgato and that, they still don't have that price tag associated with them. There's a lot of capture devices on the market, but for a duo specific that requires 4K pass-through and or an additional input, this does the trick with really great responsive times, lag-free streaming, lag-free recording, and you know what? You guys can throw that out the window, frankly, because yeah, let's get out of Stone Age, people. Live Gamer Duo, produced by AverMedia. I'm happy. On a side note, I am waiting for the next update per se and or revision to see whether that fixed the RGB problem. Otherwise, there may be an actual fault in the device itself. But for the time being, everything seems to be running really sweetly, so I can't complain. And for the price, it's not cheap, but it's definitely not one of the more expensive products out there. Unless you got multiple 4K monitors that you have to handle, you probably don't need anything better than this, frankly, guys. So my name's Seb Luka. Thank you for joining me at the Techness CorneR, and peace out, y'all.
If you need to upgrade your space, and if you're feeling like it's a frame race, fuck that marketplace. Come to TechCore. With every $1,000 purchase, there's a free fruit basket thrown in. So you're feeling out of place, and you want to join the master race. It's easy at TechCore. Come down to TechCore, where you can buy yourself a GPU with a thrown-in power supply that'll never power it and end up being a brick. It's a massive commercial place, and if you can't get to our space, means you're an idiot, but we're online in your face. TechCore.